Hello everyone and welcome to Flash Forward, the show where I talk about every single Flash comic. This week we are beginning The Flash Volume 3, written by Geoff Johns with art by Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato. This series continues on from Blackest Night, where Barry Allen is back to life and now he is becoming reacquainted with life in Central City as the Flash. He is now the main hero of the book again. So let's see how things go with Barry's first case, the dastardly death of the Rogues. We begin in Central City. New York may be the city that never sleeps, but Central City is the city always on the run. And you would think that this is a voiceover from Barry Allen, but it's actually a voiceover from Iris, who is currently visiting Jitters in order to get a cup of coffee. This is probably her 5th cup of coffee this morning. She's had so many that the cashier is getting a little bit worried. She's texting Barry about meeting up for breakfast. He's late as usual, and he texts back that he's right behind her. And she looks and sees a car speeding by with the trickster in the driving seat, and behind it we see the Flash zoom past her. Barry tries to get the trickster to pull over, but he gets shot at by the trickster's friend. He grabs the bullet, and then he punches the guy in the face. He's like, "One more time, trickster, pull over." And the trickster's just like, "Ah!" He heads straight towards a caution sign on a bridge that's under construction, smashes straight through it. Not exactly what I had in mind. We see these workers that are just kind of working, and the kid is the only one that notices that there is a car heading straight for them. I don't know why this kid is here. I'm assuming this must be bring your kid to work day, or the father just decided to bring his son to an unsafe environment. Barry quickly grabs the trickster and this dude from the car, and then uses his speed to quickly dismantle the car into pieces. We get this really cool shot of Barry just like, after he's dismantled the car, and one of the pieces of the car almost hits this kid, and Barry quickly grabs it. It's like, "Hey kid, nice to meet you, name's Flash." And then he runs off, and right away, it's incredibly easy to say that Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato are the best artists on the Flash in a while, and I can see why they are a fan favorite duo. Barry quickly gets dressed into his civilian attire and heads to the CCPD to meet up with Daryl Fry. He's a little bit late. He's starting his new job there, and Daryl decides to introduce him to everybody. While they are walking to the lab, they talk about how the Rogues are causing all sorts of issues now. We see that Captain Boomerang has been brought back to life after Brightest Day. We'll be dealing with some of that a little bit later. Daryl makes it a point to tell Barry that he doesn't want Barry dealing with any cold cases. Any cases that have been closed for years, he just wants Barry to leave them alone, even if they never found the murderer. Like the case involving his mother's death, because recently it was retconned that Barry's mom was killed by an unknown assailant, and Barry's still trying to figure out who did it, and Daryl's like, "You're gonna have to put a hold on that and focus on what's actually currently going on." And as if he couldn't make Barry's first day any harder, the first thing he does when they enter the lab is he basically just says, "Hey, all of you, Barry is better than every single one of you, so you better treat him with respect." And he says, "See? You should feel well acquainted now." Barry's like, "Yeah, I sure will." Morning? And everybody is just looking at Barry. You can tell that most of the people in this room already hate him. Meanwhile, at a park, a blue light appears, and we see a silhouette inside it that says, "I'm sorry." And everyone's just like, as the Mirror Master drops dead in front of everybody. Barry starts to get comfortable in his job again, where somebody throws him a bow tie and is like, "Hey, this is for you," because Barry used to wear bow ties all the time. I wish he continued to do that. But it's just kind of a little nod at this point, and he reacquaints himself with an old friend, Forrest, who had been working with Barry many years ago before his death, and Barry actually brings up Patty Spivot, somebody else who was working with him, and Geoff Johns takes this time to explain that the reason why Patty Spivot isn't in this book is because she doesn't work at the CCPD anymore. She left because she couldn't deal with murders anymore and the drama of working at a place like this. And Forrest is talking about retiring soon as well because he's just bought himself a yacht. So soon, Barry is going to be all alone in this lab with this guy, David Singh, who he doesn't even know yet. And this guy already clearly does not like Barry. He's like, hey, Alan, something's going on the edge of East Park. They found a body. Go check it out. And Alan, hurry the hell up. Like, he's already being an asshole to him. And it's probably because of Daryl Fry. Barry goes and checks the crime scene where he sees that it's the Mirror Master, and he states that the Mirror Master went down fighting because there's glass under his fingernails, which means he was using his mirror gun. But when he removes the Mirror Master's mask, he realizes that this is not Sam Scudder, this is not Evan McCulloch, this is some unknown person. So it's not the Mirror Master that they know. So now the question is, who is it? And then Iris shows up and wants to talk to Barry about the crime, but Barry can't say anything to her. He's like, you promised me on that date that everything between us would be off the record. And we see the flashbacks of her making that deal. She's like, I never should have made that deal. These kind of interactions are what I really like between Barry and Iris when their relationship is interesting, something that you can't really say about their relationship pre-crisis. The CCPD get another call about a light show erupting in the sky in a block west of the 10 on ramp. So Barry puts on his suit to go and check it out, and when he gets there, he finds a group led by this guy named Commander Cold. They say that they are from the 25th century and that they are here to arrest Barry for the death of the Mirror Monarch. And Barry's like, I didn't kill anyone. And Cold is like, you haven't killed anyone yet. And Barry sends a text to Iris saying that he's gonna be a bit late, as usual. Already things are getting interesting. Who are these futuristic rogues? We will find out. Barry learns that this group calls themselves the Renegades. They come from the future. They have been dealing with the Reverse Flash in the future, and as much as they commend Barry on what he did in the past, they know for a fact that Barry killed the Mirror Monarch, and they're gonna have to take him in, because even though the rogues were criminals, their technology was still capable of taking down the Flash, and that's why the Renegades modeled themselves after the rogues. So Commander Cold throws a little snowflake, which is his blizzard starter. It begins a blizzard, and then he tells the Weather Warlock to control the blizzard and capture Barry inside of it so that they can deal with him. But Barry manages to find the snowflake that is controlling the blizzard, and he destroys it, which gets rid of it. And they're all kind of stunned at his skill. They're like, wow, he found the specific snowflake amongst all of these other snowflakes. That's almost impossible to do. The future version of the Trickster is revealed to have his own little Skeets buddy, similar to Booster Gold, called Cuffs. And it is just a sentient pair of cuffs that goes to attack Barry, but he tricks it into cuffing the Weather Warlock instead, and he tries to get the cuffs off, but his weather wand accidentally destroys his platform. So they're like, oh no, Warlock's platform is destroyed. Let's head back to the future. We'll deal with Barry later. They travel back to the future, but the wormhole that they use accidentally sends a surge of chronal energy towards an apartment building, and it starts destroying it. So Barry runs into the building. He grabs everybody inside the building at super speed. He brings them outside. He's like, everyone okay? And then we have this really funny moment of Barry interacting with these people where they're all just like, oh man, where are you gonna live now? Barry's like, be right back. He quickly rushes off to the library. He reads all about how to make buildings. And then he runs to a construction site, grabs a whole bunch of materials, and builds a brand new apartment building in seconds. And then this little girl was like, my dolly was in there. And he quickly grabs her a dolly. And she's like, my dolly had blonde. And then all of a sudden, before she can finish her sentence, she has a blonde dolly. I just thought this was so great. This is funny. This is just a cute moment of Barry interacting. I love Barry, or any of the Flashes, interacting with civilians like this. In fact, I like that for any superhero. You have superheroes interacting with civilians on a daily basis. Because there are a surprising lack of superheroes that do this. The most notable one would be somebody like Spider-Man. Barry meets up with Iris and explains to her what happened. Iris believes that these renegades are pretending to be from the future and that they are just as bad as the rogues. And Barry's like, nah, I believe they're from the future. I also believe that they are good people. She's like, but they destroyed an entire building. And he's like, not on purpose. It was an accident. Like, the chronal energy from their teleportation is what destroyed it. She turns to him and is like, do you think you actually murdered the Mirror Monarch like they said you did? And Barry explains, he's like, you know that if push come to shove, I had to kill somebody in order to save someone. It was the only way to save them. I would do it. But you know that I would never murder somebody in cold blood. They are going to sweep the body, get the DNA off of it, and eventually they will find the real culprit and I will be able to prove my innocence. Iris suggests that maybe he was framed, and the person that would definitely frame him would be Reverse Flash. And Barry's like, but he's locked up in Iron Heights. And Iris is like, when has that ever stopped him? She's like, you got a point. Meanwhile, in Iron Heights Penitentiary, Captain Boomerang is being roughed up by some of the guards because he recently came back to life, and Wolf, the warden of the penitentiary, wants him to be taken to the infirmary so that they can take a look at him, and these guards, these assholes, are like, well, we can't take you to the infirmary unless you're sick or something, so I guess we're gonna have to break a couple of your bones. But then they get frozen by Captain Cold, who has appeared to Boomerang with the help of the Mirror Master, and Boomerang wants Cold to break him out, and Cold is like, nah, we're not gonna do that. So you let yourself go previously, so if you want to be a member of the Rogues, you're gonna have to prove yourself by breaking out of here by yourself. And then you gotta make the Flash sweat, and they disappear. Cold? Mirror Master? Damn! And he smashes the two guards to pieces, and then more guards come after him. He's like, come on then, all of ya, and he gets smacked across the face, and they just start beating the shit out of him. Barry heads back to the CCPD, where he sees that an old lady is having trouble proving the innocence of her son. The case has been closed, but Barry believes this old woman who says that her son is not guilty, and he decides to reopen the case and try and figure it out himself, because to him, somebody is not guilty until proven guilty. And they only got a confession after a 12-hour interrogation, which is not enough to him. And David Singh gets really pissed off at Barry, because he's like, Sim's already closed that case, you're reopening it, like, we were done with that. And Barry's like, look, I know you're all only doing this for the payroll, but I'm here to teach you to do this for the right reasons. You know, that we never convict someone unless they are actually guilty. And then Forrest calls over to Singh and states that they've swept Mirror Monarch's body and they found blood on him, and they put the blood through and have found a genetic match. They bring it up on the computer and it's Barry Allen. So this was a shocking moment. When I saw this, I was like, man, this is actually getting interesting, because now everybody in the office thinks that Barry Allen killed Mirror Monarch, and we'll see how this plays out. Boomerang is taken to the infirmary where the guards lie about what happened to him. They say that he fell down the stairs, and Boomerang goes like, and one of the guards is like, what did you say, Captain Kangaroo? I said you got something on your nose. And he runs over to the guard, he bites the guy on the nose, they smash him in the back of the head, like, get off! Nice scarf. One of them grabs him by the scarf, throws him into the door. He's like, not much without your boomerangs, are you? And then suddenly, a boomerang appears in Boomerang's hand. It's like, eh? Guess we'll never know, mate. And he throws his boomerang, because now Diggerhawk seems to have the ability to just create boomerangs out of nowhere. The boomerang hits a guard in the chest, he's like, get it out, get it! And then it explodes. And this either knocks out everybody, it definitely kills this guy, probably just knocks everybody out, I don't think anyone else died. Well now, gents, look like I got me some get out of jail free cards. Who else wants one? Meanwhile, at the CCPD, at first everybody thinks that Barry may have killed the Mirror Monarch, but then they quickly come to the conclusion that he didn't kill him, he just contaminated the scene of the crime. And things like, you're coming in here telling us how to do our job because you say that we do it sloppy. You better clean up your scenes first before you start making these accusations. You got that, Golden Boy? Barry's just like, yes, sir, because you can't really argue because you can't reveal that he's the Flash. Barry then goes to visit Iris and says that he's in a sticky situation because they definitely got the DNA right. They definitely found his DNA on the body. They know that he didn't tamper with the crime scene, so it's all pointing at the fact that he did kill this guy. They just need to find out why. But Barry's not actually worried about that right now. He's worried about Jason Hicks, the son of this woman that needed help. He's currently in prison, he's possibly wrongfully convicted, so Barry's like, I'll deal with the renegade stuff later because the future doesn't matter. Right now, what matters most is the present. And at first, Iris is against him for this, but then she quickly turns around and is like, you know what? I will help you however I can. I have connections with the CCPD. And Barry's like, I really do love you. And before he can finish his sentence, an explosion blasts through the jitters, which, once again, the Renegades are putting people's lives in danger just to catch the Flash. Come out with your hands up! They show up, Barry puts on his Flash costume in order to face them, and Cold traps him in this big field that they use to trap their criminals, and they are going to put him through a trial. And Barry's like, man, I thought they would fix this problem in the future, you know, putting innocent people on trial, but I guess they didn't. The last time you came here, you destroyed an apartment building. You know what? I got a few tricks of my own. And he just vibrates through the field, which surprises everybody. They're like, whoa, he vibrated through that? That's impossible. Flash grabs Commander Cold. He's like, we need to have a talk, Commander. But at this moment, the top sees Iris Allen. And he says, hey, if we grab her, this could all be over. And Heatstroke, who is the future version of Heatwave, an unfortunate name for this guy, is like, we can't approach Iris Allen, Top. I know, Heatstroke. Our jurisdiction only covers crimes committed against people from our own era. I wish that could change. So they seem to be hinting that Iris has committed some kind of crime or is going to commit some kind of crime, but because it didn't affect anyone from the future, they can't do anything about it. But whatever crime she commits, whatever she does, is what leads to Barry Allen killing Mirror Monarch. Barry tries to convince Cold that he can help him find whoever murdered his friend, but Cold isn't listening to him. He uses his suit to freeze Barry, and then the Trickster throws what look like T-balls. So I'm starting to think this Trickster was inspired by both Booster Gold and Mr. Terrific. These T-balls are full of gum. They trap Barry even further. There's this guy in the background that's like, whoa, the Flash is in trouble. Hey, can I take a pic of you? Like, what are you doing, dude? He's clearly not in a good spot right now. Heatstroke uses his heat to get rid of Barry's protective aura and then cuffs Barry. They have successfully apprehended him and they prepare to take him to the future, but then a boomerang whizzes past Cold. It's like, what? The boomerang explodes, sending everybody flying. Barry starts to wake up. He's like, ugh. Wanna be rogues with police badges? Tell me, Flasher. What did I miss while I was dead? Captain Boomerang has arrived, and chances are he's probably gonna try and kill Barry so that he can become a member of the Rogues again. The Rogues see what's going down on the news with Captain Boomerang coming across the Flash, and they're looking forward to seeing what happens. Boomerang wants answers from the Flash as to who these so-called renegades are, and Barry's like, same old Captain Boomerang, huh? Talking way too much. Nah, mate, old Digger's got some new tricks. See, I want my reputation back, Flasher. I want my spot on the Rogues back. I want my bloody life back. Except he doesn't give a shit about his son. He wants everything about his old life to be back except for his son. Who cares about Owen? Boomerang throws a couple of boomerangs at a helicopter. The helicopter starts going out of control, so Barry needs to save it. He runs up a building at super speed, and the guy in the helicopter is like, Mayday! 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 And Barry jumps on top of the propeller of the helicopter. He runs over the propeller, and as he's running across it, he sees the view, and he's like, ah, nice view. And then he keeps running across the propeller. He makes it to the other side. He smashes open the door of the helicopter. He grabs the guys inside, pulls them out, jumps on top of the building, and gets them to safety. The helicopter falls to the ground and explodes in front of Boomerang. It's like, it's good to be back in Central City. And then the Renegades start fighting Boomerang because they're like, you are obstructing our justice, so we're going to have to take you down. They try to trap him, but Boomerang starts throwing boomerangs at him. Cold dodges the boomerang, and Boomerang's like, you forgot how a boomerang works. It comes back to hit him, but Barry grabs the boomerang, and at super speed, he starts grabbing the boomerangs, and he's like, I know talking in super speed is usually useless, but I'm sure you guys will understand what I'm saying. I want you to keep Boomerang busy with minimal damage while I catch all these boomerangs and throw them away. I will sort out this whole situation. He throws them off the dock. They all explode. The Renegades continue to fight Boomerang, and the Top starts to have second thoughts about everything that's going on. He's like, this feels wrong. Why can't we just tell Barry what's going on? Because if we just tell him why he kills the Mirror Monarch, it'll stop it from happening. And Heatstroke is like, you know we can't do that because it's against protocol. And Top is like, I don't care. I can't just sit and watch Barry Allen's life be ruined. So I'm going to tell him. And he flies off to go and tell Barry. Barry grabs him. And Top is like, I can just spin out of your control right now, Barry. I'm not here to fight you. I just want to talk to you. And Barry's like, I tried talking to you. It's like, yes, Cole didn't want to talk to you because of protocol, but I'm not following protocol. See, the reason you kill Mirror Monarch is because of Iris. Meanwhile, Iris finds some files on the ground, picks it up, and the files say witness interview. She's like, oh my god. And Barry asks Top what he knows, and Top explains that the Mirror Master and the Rogues have this giant mirror that is a gateway to the mirror dimension that was created by Sam Scudder. And the Mirror Master is going to break it, and the Mirror Lords are going to break out from this other dimension. And they are going to take control of Iris, and she will become the Flash's greatest villain, the Mirror Mistress. And the only way to save his wife is to destroy the other dimension, and the only way to do that is to kill the person that opened it in the first place. So Barry becomes hell-bent on trying to kill the Mirror Master, but he ruins everything by accidentally killing the Mirror Monarch. So not only does Iris remain as his greatest enemy forever, but Barry also ruins his life and becomes a murderer. So Top tells him, if you want to save your wife, you have to stop the Rogues before they do this. And that's why I'm telling you this. Heatstroke lets Commander Cold know that Top is breaking protocol, but before they can do anything about it, they are all frozen by Captain Cold, and Boomerang's like, hey, are you letting me back in the Rogues? He's like, not yet. We're here to protect our turf from these wannabes, and to take out the Flash once and for all, and they reveal that they have bought the glass gate with them. So already, the events leading up to Barry becoming a murderer are coming into place. The Top and the Flash race to stop the mirror from being shattered. They also point out that none of this really makes any sense. The Renegades coming back in order to arrest Barry, because if they arrest Barry, then he will never kill Mirror Monarch, and then they will never come back in time to arrest him. So it's just one of those time loop things, those situations, a time anomaly. Meanwhile, the Rogues are fighting against the Renegades. Evan McCulloch tries to destroy the mirror, but Barry stops him, and then it's pointed out that this is the first time that Barry and McCulloch have met, because Barry is used to Sam Scudder, and he says, "Oh, you got a Scottish accent, you're also shorter and less prepared," and he smashes McCulloch to pieces, and McCulloch is like, "Less prepared? I've had to fight whole armies of speedsters thanks to you. This old Mirror Master is beyond prepared." He enters Barry's wingtips and points out to the Rogues that there is communication devices in his wingtips to the police. So the trickster decides to mess with his earpiece, and so Barry has to rip it off. And then Weather Wizard shows up, continuing to prove that he is the strongest member of the Rogues. He creates a massive tornado and sucks Barry into it, but then the Top saves him by counteracting the tornado with his spinning, which sends both him and Barry flying, and Top gets knocked out for a moment. So now the Renegades are here to arrest both of them, and the Rogues are here to kill both of them because they've killed one Top, and now they're going to kill another. And the Top tries to beg them to stop, and that if they break the glass, then the Mirror Lords are all going to come out, and Boomerang interrupts him. He's like, "Stand aside, wannabes, real rogue coming through." And Cold tries to tell him again that he's not one of them, and then all of a sudden, Boomerang's chest starts lighting up, and the White Lantern Ring tells him of his destiny, which is to throw a boomerang at Dove. And if you want to see how that plays out, you can go and watch my Brightest Day videos, where I cover all of this stuff. Boomerang just starts throwing boomerangs everywhere, so everybody has to dodge them, and one of the boomerangs hits the mirror. Barry tries to stop it, but unfortunately he hits the mirror, cracking it, and Top tells Barry that he's going to need to go into the mirror and stop the Mirror Lords himself, keep them busy. So he hits Barry into the mirror. Barry flies through it, like it cracks open, he ends up flying through it, and then he sees in these shattered pieces of the mirror some kind of alternate future where his mother is alive, but he refuses to believe that it's real. And he's like, "Oh, no, this isn't real. It has to be a dream. It has to be a dream. My mom's dead." So he rushes out. He gets captured by cuffs. He sees that the mirror is shattered. But then he's like, "The Mirror Lords, where are they? It seems like there are no Mirror Lords." And we see that Iris is about to start her investigation into the files that she found when the Top shows up. "Mrs. Allen, I'm afraid I'm going to need that evidence over your dead body." So it seems like the Top had lied about the glass and about these Mirror Lords, and that maybe he was the one that killed the Mirror Monarch. But why would he do that? And Barry is asking the same question. He says, "I know who killed the Mirror Monarch, but I just don't know why." And the commander is like, "Well, you can tell the judge because we're taking you to the future for your trial." So they teleport to the future, and Barry ends up in court, and we see the judge. And I'm curious to see if this guy is a future version of a pre-established character. I guess we'll find out. He either is, or maybe he's just a new character. Maybe he's just some guy called the Judge or something. It would be interesting if his identity was that of Wally West or something like that, like he is the future version. Barry Allen's future trial commences. The judge is determined to convict Barry for the murder of Mirror Monarch, but Barry is more focused on the Top, because he's like, "Guys, Top told me and you all of this stuff that was going to happen, and none of it actually happened the way he said it would. There were no Mirror Lords inside that giant mirror. He also didn't say that Boomerang would be there, and Boomerang ended up being there, so how much can we trust about this guy?" And then we see the Top, who is holding Iris hostage, and she's about to investigate these files, and he wants to get rid of them because according to him, he loves being a cop in the 25th century, and her investigating these files will ruin his career somehow. Barry is done letting the renegades waste his time. He vibrates out of his cuffs, which is something that he could do this entire time. He was just kind of playing with them. He was like, yeah, I vibrated out of that force field that you created a while back. I can also vibrate out of these cuffs. It's even easier to do that. I need to find a top and find out why he killed Mirror Monarch. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to use your teleporting board. So he jumps onto it, he time travels back to the past, and just smashes straight into Top's face. And immediately, they start fighting one another, and Barry finally discovers why the Top is trying to change the past. So the files that Iris have recovered are the files on the real person responsible for that kid Jason, the innocent kid that was put in prison. Those files are the person who actually did it. And the reason why the Top wants to stop them from convicting the real person is because the person that actually did it is one of his ancestors. And the rules in the future are, if you have an ancestor that is related to you that is a criminal, you cannot become a cop. So the Top wants to stop his ancestor from being convicted so that he can become a cop in the future. And Barry is like, you are going to send an innocent kid to prison just for a freaking job application? And he's right, it's absolutely insane that the Top is doing this. But a very interesting motive for a villain. And I'm disappointed in this Top, because the original Top was a horrible person, and I thought that this guy would be the opposite, where he seemed like he was a good person, but it turns out he's just as horrible and self-centered as the original Top is. The Top tries to kill Barry with one of his spinning tornadoes, but Barry vibrates alongside it and starts turning the force against the Top, reversing it, which destroys the Top's costume, taking him out. And then the renegades come to arrest the Top, and Barry's like, alright, so that's it? No apology? No, there isn't. I respect what you do, Flash, but I'm also disappointed in you. You're disappointed in me? You have the power to travel in time, but you don't even try to fix it. At least we are. If you're going to try to erase crimes from history, you better make sure you damn well know it. Point taken. I hope ours is too. They leave. Barry sees that the place is destroyed, so he quickly fixes it. And this is the first time Barry has been given a lecture on changing the past, which will become very important for obvious reasons. Jason is free from the conviction and reunited with his mother now that they've found the real culprit. And Barry seems to be a little sad seeing Jason and his mother reunited, because clearly it reminds him of the fact that he doesn't have his mom. And if things couldn't get any worse, Barry is reminded that David Singh is a complete asshole, because Barry turned out to be right, and David Singh is one of those people where he's like, oh, if you prove me wrong, then I'm just gonna be an even bigger asshole to you, even though you were right about it. And then Singh turns to everybody and is like, from now on, we are going to make sure that we are 100% sure people are guilty before we close cases. So we're going to open up every case from the last 6 months and make sure that they are all correct before we close them again. And then he turns, looks at Barry, and is like, don't get cocky. And then he leaves, and it's like, shh, this guy sucks. I hope he develops as a character. And then Barry goes and visits Iris, and he talks about how the Renegades talked about changing the past. And Iris explains to Barry that he's always talking about how the past is the past, and that you should just leave it as it is and always look into the future. It can always get better. Meanwhile, the Rogues talk about how the mirror was just a funhouse mirror, there were no mirror lords or anything, and they also point out the fact that Captain Boomerang is gone. And they're like, where did he go? I thought he wanted to become a member of the Rogues again. In the future, the Renegades talk about the fact that the past has been shifting recently. Wonder Woman's clothes have changed when they weren't supposed to. Just small events have been happening that weren't supposed to, and they blame Barry Allen for it. But the judge states that this is only the beginning and that something big is coming and someone is on their way to warn Barry. And we see this really cool looking guy riding a motorcycle. Like, I'm almost done empty. Damn it, Alan. You better find the flashpoint before it destroys us all. Meanwhile, Captain Boomerang infiltrates Ironheight's penitentiary because he wants to talk to the Reverse Flash. He tries to get a guy to open the door for him, but the guy refuses and he calls security. And Boomerang's like, ugh, poor move. Takes the guy out and kills him, and then he uses his boomerangs to blow up the door. We get to see the Reverse Flash. Boomerang helps free him with one of his boomerangs, and then asks Reverse Flash about the destiny that the White Ring showed him. Again, if you want to see how that plays out, go and watch my Brightest Day videos. The Reverse Flash basically just gives him the middle finger and is like, you don't matter in the future. So that's all I really know about you. I'm not really going to tell you about your destiny because your destiny is to suck and be a cockroach and nobody gives a shit about you. You've thrown out so much bad in your life and it's only going to come back. Sometimes it'll be the people you've wronged looking for revenge. Sometimes it'll be yourself. What the hell are you talking about? Talking about your future. I'm talking about freeing me. Thorn leaves and the rogues show up and they're like, what did you do? And we see that Thorn is running off to enact the first step of his next plan, and we will find out what that is next time, because that is going to be it for this week, and that's it for this year as well, because Christmas is coming up. I'm not going to be releasing a video next week, but I will release a video on the 4th of January, which will be the road to Flashpoint, the beginning of a long series of Flashpoint videos that I got planned. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you look forward to that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you then. Have a good one.